Hey friends, Steph and Superfloof here. In part one, we built a way to append notes in Power Apps without overwriting anything, complete with timestamp and user information to keep everything clean and accountable. Well, today we're taking it a step further. From the same Power Apps screen, I'm going to show you how to generate two different PDFs, one with those appended notes and another with the completed testing steps from a completely different gallery within our software testing details app. Then, with Power Automate, we're going to automatically save those PDFs to a SharePoint document library with tagging for easy tracking and organization. Now, if you stick around to the end, we'll show you a simple trick that makes your file names unique and your PDFs easier to find even months later. Okay, let's dive in. So for this use case, this is a software testing tracking app. So they're implementing a new version of a software, and they wanted to have end users go through each different level or stage of the software and test it. So we had one tester or many. And if we go into here, we have the tracking details. And this shows us who's tested, if it passed or it failed. They wanted the ability to create PDFs, as well as the notes section to create PDFs to keep tracking of that. And here within the app, we have a gallery tied to our SharePoint library that shows us each one of these PDFs that have been created. This is the notes one for this testing stage, verify role-based access. That's the name of this test. What it is, it's the notes or the tracking data, who did it and when. And at the very end, I'll show you how to do these custom names leveraging Power Automate. But you'll notice here, this note doesn't match with this note. We have an extra stage here. That's because we haven't printed the PDF yet. So let's look at how this works. If we start at the very top, because the first thing I want to show you is my menu bar here, my tabbed menu. And if I expand this out, if there are PDFs created, then we're going to give them an option to look at PDFs. If there are no PDFs created, why show it? Why show your end users an empty gallery? Just causes confusion. So there's the first little trick for you. Keep it as easy as possible for your end users. The KISS methodology is always best. Before we get into the code on my button, I wanted to touch one thing here. At the time of this recording, PDF Viewer is experimental still. So you may or may not need to go into Settings, Updates, and find PDF. At the time of this recording, you have to turn this on for this to work. So let's look at the code for our button on the notes. So if I expand this out, there's a lot going on. Let me make this a little bit bigger. We're setting a var spinner to true. And I'll show you that here in a sec. Basically, that's a container that has a spinning spinner in it. It gives the end users feedback that something's going on in the background. We're setting another variable, var show notes full, say that 3 times fast, to true. I'll explain that in a minute. And then we're setting another variable, var software notes PDF. Again, remember with your variables, you can use whatever vernacular you like, but try to be consistent in your apps. So when coworkers come in to work on them, they kind of have a feel for how you do things. Now we're calling a PDF function and we're passing it HTML text notes. And you'll notice here that this is small. We're leveraging something called expand containers true that'll come into play in a minute. Then we're setting var show notes full to false, var spinner to false to hide the spinner, and then we're navigating to the PDF screen. I'll get into the var show notes full in a sec, but first I wanted to show you the code for the tracking details PDF button. If we expand this out, we're doing the same thing. We're showing the spinner, and then we're setting the variable to the gallery. And you see here how it's showing me in green. We're grabbing everything from the gallery with expanded containers true, and then we're hiding the variable. We're navigating to that same screen. I'm a lazy IT person. I want to use one screen for multiple things. I don't want to have a screen for the tracking and the notes. I want to have one screen that does everything to make my life easier. Now, what I wanted to show you is you see how much space the gallery has on this screen. When you pass the data into the PDF printer, it only takes what is seen on the screen when you click the button. So if we look here, this container is a vertical container. Like we set up in the previous video, I'll have a link to that down below. It's a vertical container. I have a horizontal container here that is hosting the buttons. So that'll show everything horizontally. And then within the vertical container, I have label notes. I have the rich text editor, I have the label notes, and I have this. So what we're doing is when that button is clicked, I am leveraging that same var show notes full to hide these sections. So when we click this button, we'll see the spinner pop up. This section will fill the screen just like the gallery did. So then that entire area will be passed to the PDF viewer. Now for my use case, this screen is probably all we'll need. For your use case, you may need to do some different things. Let me know in the comments if you want me to dig into that more. Before we get into that screen, let's get into the var spinner. This is a container at the very top of my screen. I'm going to go to the front of the code and comment out var spinner and just make it true. Basically, we have a container with a partially transparent background, and then I just have a GIF, and you can put whatever GIF in here you like, but this will give the end users that feedback that something's going on. So they don't question and get concerned, oh, is it working, is it not working? You don't have to worry about it. So let's uncomment the code and go back into notes, and let's play the app and click the button. There you see the notes in the background, and here we've gone to the second screen showing us the notes. And from here, I can click the save button, which will call my flow that we'll get into in a minute, that's handling the PDF creation and saving to our SharePoint list. Right now, this is just previewing. This is just giving us an overview of what we have going on. So let's look at what we have in this container. Here we have the PDF viewer screen. I'm going to actually go back up and minimize these to give us a little bit more real estate. Okay, so the PDF viewer is sitting on the screen. It has to be outside the containers. It's just one of the gotchas at the time of this recording of an experimental feature. It's outside of all the containers. We have the screen container, the whole thing. I'm leveraging the new screen header and footer, so we have all of this maintained for us. It all automatically flows with our containers. We have the back arrow that is, on click, removing our variables, either software testing PDF or software notes PDF, and turning them to blank, and we're going back to the main screen. And then we have the label, we have the icon for save, we have the main container, but the main container doesn't have anything. So why do we have it here? We have the main container there because even though the PDF viewer has to sit outside of all your containers, you can still leverage things for its X and Y and width and height. So the X of the PDF container is main container, the Y is the main container, the width is the main container, and the height is the main container. So there we're kind of working the system or gaming the system a little bit, but it works. So let's look at the actual PDF viewer document, the actual content of it. So if software testing PDF has something in it, if it's not blank, then we're going to feed it the software testing blob. If not, it's the software notes blob. One screen, multiple things. Makes our life so much easier because now what are we doing? We're calling the Power Automate that uploads our screenshots and saves it to our SharePoint library. Let's get into that next. Before I get into the button code, let's look at the flow that we have embedded in our Power App. If I click Edit, opens it up in the classic. You could go to flow.microsoft.com, open it up there, and it would be modern. So here we're passing the master ID. This is my vernacular. You could use whatever you like. Just try and be consistent. The master ID is the ID of the main record. And I have a column in our SharePoint library that is the master ID. So we're passing it a number, and I always annotate everything. And then we're passing it the file, the PDF file. Then we're creating the file in my main Coon Tech SharePoint site in the library called Testing PDFs. The folder name is the file name from Power Apps. The file content is the PDF file from Power Apps. If we go to Update File Properties, so now that we've created the file, we go into the file and we tag it with the master ID. That's how we know that all of these items are correct. And then we respond back to the Power App saying, yes, it's complete, and we give it the file ID. And we do that so that Power Apps knows that the flow is completed. Now, why that's important is here in our button code. So I'm going to expand this out. Now, remember, if you join my Ko-fi, you can download this entire Power App and the flow and everything with it, so you can play with this at your leisure. The link will be in the description below. But I'll cover this slowly so you can copy it down if you like as well. So we're starting with an if statement. And because this button is handling two different types of actions, we have some logic in here. So if not blank software PDF, so we're creating the software testing PDF first. We're setting a variable, the var PDF created. And why we're doing that is down below, we're handling errors. So we're running our Power Automate. We have var this item ID, and then we're passing it the content bytes from our variable var software testing PDF, and we're naming the file. This is so important because you really want to make sure that your file names are relevant to not only the item, but a date and timestamp, so that if you go back and look at things, you can see what happened when. If we have multiple versions of the notes section, we would want to know in chronological order how that occurred. So here we have that document library, and you can see the names of the files that we saw in the gallery with the master ID. That's the record ID of the testing one. We'll get into that. I'll show you that in a minute. But here we have, so we have the testing stage, if it's notes or tracking data, who did it, and a timestamp. If we go back and look at the code, there we capture the username and the timestamp. Now, we're setting a var PDF created .success. Now remember, in the Power Automate, we were passing it a variable back. This is why we were doing that. So if the var PDF created, if it's successful, we let them know that it was created, we navigate them to the edit screen, and we set the variable to blank, and we refresh the library. Now, so here's the comma for our if statement. So if software testing PDF is blank, then we're going to run software testing PDF creation off of software notes. Same flow, same everything. It's a little confusing because we have a lot going on, but it's easier than having two flows or two screens or two buttons. It's all in one place. We're doing the same thing. We're setting a var PDF created. We're calling our flow. We're leveraging var this item.id, and we're passing the file contents. We have the contents, the blob within here that we created by clicking the PDF button. We're setting the name of the file, and then we're waiting for the success, the feedback from the Power Automate. If it wasn't blank, then give us feedback that it was created successfully, take us back to the edit screen. We're setting everything to blank, and we're refreshing. So let's do that really quick. If I hit save here, now technically I should have the var spinner, but this is usually pretty quick. And the reason we had the refresh is looky, looky, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Here we have the new notes in the gallery in the record with the timestamp of now. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts, questions, and any topics you'd like us to cover in future videos. Sharing is caring, so don't forget to share this tutorial with your fellow Power Apps enthusiasts. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep rocking Power Apps like a true pro. See you in the next video.